not in direct sunlight. Here's a paper that was done looking at the interdependence and contributions of sun exposure and vitamin D to MRI measures in multiple sclerosis. Now, I found this very interesting because scientists have known for a long time that multiple sclerosis has a higher incidence at higher latitudes. So in conclusion, the results from our cross-sectional study suggest that sun exposure could have an effect on brain volume in multiple sclerosis. Now, remember we talked about how infrared radiation can penetrate the skull and actually can bathe the cerebral spinal fluid in near infrared radiation and be trapped down deep into those sulci where the gray matter is. What they found here was that increased sun exposure seemed to improve the amount of gray matter and also brain mass, and it was dissociated from the increased vitamin D levels as a result from that sun exposure. Let's take a look at this graph here. I found it very interesting. Here we have the multiple sclerosis patients up on top, and here we have the controls on the bottom. And what they did was they divided sun exposure into quartiles. So they had the people with the highest 25% of sun exposure, the third highest, the second highest, and then the lowest in all of these categories. And what they measured here in the first graph was the gray matter volume. In other words, how much gray matter was there on the MRI? And you can see a very definitive positive association in multiple sclerosis patients. The other thing that they looked at over here on the right side was the whole brain volume. So did the whole brain volume go up? And you can see clearly that there was also an increase in whole brain volume with increased sun exposure. In the controls, it was not as dramatic, but you could still see that there was a positive correlation. Whole brain matter, not so much, maybe a slight amount. But remember, this is gray matter here on the left, and it's the gray matter that's on the outside of the brain and is easily accessible to potential near infrared radiation.
Since we're still in this pandemic dealing with COVID-19, can any of these health benefits that you described from infrared radiation benefit us with regard to COVID-19?
So MedCram viewers will know that back